Chiliz has recently exploded by 300%, but there's a particular pattern that we're going to cover today that indicates that we're likely to see it go sideways to down and under 20 cents again before we see the next pump. So let's dive straight into Chiliz. Now with Chiliz, it's actually the world leading blockchain fintech provider for sports and entertainment. So it's a Chiliz blockchain is an infrastructure project. You can read about all the details, but what we're going to focus on today is the technicals, which is really the buying and selling behavior. Because ultimately what drives price is fear and greed and buying and selling. When there's more buying than selling, price goes up. When there's more selling than buying, price goes down. And it's that simple. Well, today we're going to focus on a particular chart pattern. Markets tend to move in 5s and 3s. And I do a weekend workshop with my community, my Telegram community, and one of them asked me to look at Chiliz. And we did a detailed, in-depth analysis. And what I said was, when we see a market move in 5 waves, and it's pretty clean in terms of an Elliott wave pattern. We got this wave 1, 2, what looks like an explosive 3, a corrective 4, profit-taking wave 4, and then this normally a panic buying wave 5, especially in crypto. Wave 5 is like hopium, and then what typically occurs after a wave 5 is a 3-wave correction. And that's what I'm going to dive into a bit more detail today, so what to anticipate and why from a technical position. We're not looking at fundamentals, we're looking at technicals, because ultimately what drives the short-term price, less than a year, is buying and selling behavior. By the way, if you want this chart, I'm going to add it to this list where you can actually download my charts for free, where you can view my exact analysis. And there's a few different charts, what we got at the moment. We've got Bitcoin, BNB, Solana, Ethereum, and a few others. We've got Quant, and we'll add Chiliz as the 9th chart. I'll get that added in the coming days, probably see if we can get it added today, really. All right, so let's now look at this from an objective manner. Okay, so what typically happens time and time again, I'm going to draw this out for you. And you'll see this with all cryptos, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum. In fact, we've seen a really similar pattern with Ethereum, is after a 5-wave move to the upside, typically what occurs is a 3-wave correction. 3 waves is most common. There are some other types of corrections as well, but just think of it as this is a sprint, and then the market runs out of breath and it needs the rest. It needs a recovery. And then people want to take profits, right? People that are bought in over here and people that have been holding during the bigger correction. Because if we just, zoom out for a second, we can see that Chiliz has gone through a big correction like most other cryptos, right? It went from nearly $1, right? Nearly $1. So it's like 80, 90% drawdown because they had a big pump last year. So people have been holding through that. So when they see the market move like this, well, what do a bunch of people do? Well, let's take profits, right? It's natural, it's normal. So you want to be 2 steps ahead of the market so you know what action to be doing. Here's not the ideal time to buy. It doesn't mean it won't go up. It just means it's not highly probable right now. What's likely to occur, and I've done the Fibonacci price and time analysis. I won't go into detail today, but basically what it says to us is between the dates of the 19th of September, it's around 2-3 weeks, to the 4th of October, we're likely to see sideways to down. This is actually supported by the weekly momentum. You go, Jiggy, what are you talking about? What's weekly momentum? So by the way, when you download the Chiliz charts, it's going to look like this. And if you upload it into your own trading view, then you can zoom into the charts and you can tweak whatever you want. But then the top left-hand corner is where I keep my weekly chart. And what's really cool with Chiliz, in terms of from a technical position, is you see when the blue line goes below the red, it marries up quite nicely with these tops, right? And look where the momentum is at the moment. The blue line looks like it's about to go below the red. So we should anticipate sideways to down for maybe a number of weeks, which also coincides with what we're seeing with Bitcoin as well. So let's just now wrap up. Again, going back into the daily chart, sideways to down. And let's just talk about price for a second. Most corrections, when a 5-wave sequence has finished, if we measure the low, which is down here, and this high, most corrections end between 50 to 78.6% retracement. So the price range is 17 cents. That's why we were saying below 20 cents at the beginning of the video, and 12 cents. And if the price unfolds like this, especially at this part, we can do a bit more of a detailed analysis to really knuckle down on the high probability end of the trend. So if you want this chart, I'm going to get it added. You can download the chart for free. And every time I do an update, it will update automatically. I'm going to finish with a quote from my book. You can now also download this. I'm just giving away loads. Me and my team are just giving away everything, right? Want to help you with your financial health and increase it and increase the probability of you succeeding. And, there's mechanics in terms of technical analysis, but then there's also mindset as well. So I want to read this quote from, it's actually chapter 1 of the book. It's called, you must be in it to win it, right? We've got to take action. So the quote is actually from Michael Jordan, right? And I think it's really, really relevant and really, really powerful to kind of understand the ingredients of success, really. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. That's MJ, right? Michael Jordan, superstar, legend. And you're a legend also, but knowing that there's a learning curve for everything, and this crypto market is here to stay long term. So Chiliz, from a fundamental perspective, is doing a blockchain for social, right? So social and then entertainment, etc. And they've got their own platform, and there's many other cryptocurrencies. But even though the fundamentals are improving and price has been dropping, that in itself is a bullish divergence in the sense of the technology is getting better, but the price is going down. And it's really, really important to note that the price is driven by buying and selling behavior, which is driven by psychology. And the main two emotions is fear and greed. And if you can understand that, that gives you a massive edge on the market. So you can really act in a logical, mechanical way. Fundamentals are important, but more long-term. The importance of really long-term. There was a great quote by Benjamin Graham, one of Warren Buffett's guys, in his 1994 investor letter. I don't know why I was reading it, but I was reading it a few years back. And he said something like this. He said, short-term, the markets are a voting machine. And votes are placed by buying and selling. And long-term, the markets are a weighing machine where the weight of the value of the product or the system or whatever it is will be reflected in the price. So when you're doing long-term investing, that long-term weight will be reflected in the price. Whereas short-term, less than 2 years, less than a year, less than 6 months, definitely less than 3 months, it's more voting, which is, again, human emotion. And I believe he said in that letter, Warren Buffett, that is, he said, look, if you're looking to hold Berkshire Hathaway stock for less than 5 years, don't buy them. He says he's not a trader. He's a long-term investor. But with the market, and especially crypto being a new market, only since 2009, it's very volatile and it's like it's a naked emotions being expressed, and it's very volatile. But we can read those patterns and be 2 steps ahead of the market, and then you become the casino and therefore ultimately win.